Hi, Greasy Garage Dwellers. I'm Chuck. This is Up Chuck Chops. Thanks for joining me. Today, we're back on the CB900 carb teardown. This may take a couple of wardrobe changes because it's late Saturday evening and I might run short on time. But we'll get through it one way or the other. Here's a little backstory for you. I was on a YouTube group, Honda CB900 custom group, and I got referred to some things in their files. One is how to remove the carb. I've already done that, but I printed it out because it had some good tips. And then this outfit put McGregor Carb Cleaning Services out of Sultan, Washington. They put in a step-by-step 40-page how to break this thing down where the climber manual stopped. The problem is this instruction set starts from the carburetors being whole, and I've already done as far as the climber told me to go. So I'm going to have to reference and make sure I've done steps and things like that, but I think it's going to be a big help. And another thing I learned from that same Honda CB900 Facebook group is they said old school carbs, it's the way to go for the rebuild kit. So I got online and I was going to order one. Well, it was like 236 bucks. There's a cheaper version on 4-in-1, but everybody was saying old school carbs is the best. And I'm like, well, I don't want to cough up that much cash right this second. I'm just going to save the website, and when the cash flow thing works itself out, because, you know, I'm only sponsored by me, and I thought when the cash flow thing works itself out, I'll get on there, order it. Well, I got on there this evening, and that part of the website doesn't exist anymore. So I don't know if they've quit selling those parts or what the deal is. So I emailed the company and said, hey, I was wanting to buy these. I can't find them now. You know, any help is appreciated. So I'm waiting on an email from them, but I'm tired of not being in the shop. I still have to get this stuff cleaned before I can put it back together. So I'm just going to have to do a really good job remembering how this all comes together. The camera's going to help me. My books are going to help me. And there's a guy on YouTube. I don't remember the channel name. I'll tell you in a second. But he showed the carb breakdown process, and he did a nice job. Everybody's saying how he didn't ramble on like I'm doing. Well, turns out, as it is, my cell service and non-existent internet service out here in the shop won't let me look up the name of that guy. So I'll write it on here in a minute. Let's take a gander at the tools the new off the internet manual told me I was going to need. One of the optional things is a high E guitar string. These are extras, little brushless cleaners. Gonna need some other brushes. I've got my pick set. Those always seem to come in pretty handy. Box knife, needle nose. I don't know that I'll need a crescent, but I've got it. My JIS screwdrivers, my flats, mini vice grips, all of my paperwork. Of course, the carb bank, the previously removed carb parts, my ultrasonic cleaner. I might not need that because I bought the big can, the Berryman Chem Dip carburetor parts cleaner, and it comes with a basket. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to take my time, and it's going to take a lot of editing, cutting stuff out, because you're here with me, and I have to use you to look in here real tight and remember things for me. I made sure my carbs were which way. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Of course, I've already took the tops off, and I have the bowls out. So I'm going to find my spot in this book, see what I need to do next. Okay, I did get a Sharpie and some duct tape so I can label some more of these bins. So my next step is splitting the banks. Top of the carb, There are 8 screws holding in this rail, and the book says there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 8. This is the front of the carb. Small holes going into the engine. This plate sits here. This is the back of the carb where the air box comes through, the choke plates. Note the hose. Alright. So my pamphlet is telling me, take this off. Trying to make sure I get them all broke loose. Okay, that one's not wanting to. Okay. This worked well for me earlier. And it's probably not going to now. Awesome. I'll lay it like that. Get my impact screwdriver. Okay. Note the orientation. This little guy and the hook. We are hugging the number 3 carburetor. And that is what it looks like coming off. There's a little lock washer. I want to try to replace these with Allen heads. Top/rear rail right there. And I'm going to label my bucket top rear rail. Okay, flip this over. Look at that stuff coming out of there already. I thought I had them pretty washed out. This is they're calling it the front rail. It's the rail bowls, tops, toward the engine, front rail. I might as well just let me check. I don't think there's anything I can really hurt right there. gonna give her a whack. It's amazing what the right tool can do for a fella. What we got going on. I reckon this should only fit one way. But just for me, when I go to put this back in, this raised profile goes away from the carburetor bodies and right in like that. All my screws are the same length, so I'll just dump them all in the basket. Next, my instructions tell me to unhook the small spring between 2 and 3 on the choke shaft. These are the choke butterflies as I understand, so I have to take that loose. There's the big spring, and there's the small spring, and it notes in this literature that this will unwind. So we're going to very carefully do that. I got you in real close. Okay, this spring comes under and over this clip and this notch right there. Right there. So I'm going to let go. Okay, it in fact did uncoil. Split the bank in half with 1 and 2 on one side and 3 and 4 on the other. That is split. 1, 2, 3, 4. They are split. This shaft came from there. That shaft came from right there. Now notice the O-rings. If I can get good lighting. They look a little worse for wear, and those shafts are a little dirty, so I'm probably doing the right thing breaking this down. My literature tells me to pop out the fuel rail tube, the larger, with the O-rings, and the accelerator pump rail tube, this one, as well as the vent T right here, and the tubes that are on it. It also says you don't want or need to clean this. No, excuse me. It says you don't want to clean these with the harsh chemicals. It might injure them. Alrighty. As these are orientated, and I'm going to slide this out, it wasn't very deep. This is the 1, 2 side. This is the 3, 4 side. I don't know that it matters. Just seems like a hollow aluminum tube. but we have that marked just in case, and labeled. I am doing the same with the fuel rail tube. There she goes. Okay, this is the fuel rail tube. The T, excuse me. And I'm going to mark it the same as I did the other ones. This is the 1, 2 side, 3, 4 side. There are one of these on each side. That the T goes into. I'm going to get a basket, put those with the vent T is what that part I just removed is called. Okay, folks, carbs are split. It recommends I start with the 3/4 set. I did put new buckets for each carb, whatever I'm taking loose, and we're just going to work slowly from there. I wasn't planning on removing the choke plates. I'm considering deviating from the process laid out by the book, but there are O-rings in here that probably should be replaced. It says to take these choke tubes out, and that's troublesome because I don't want to do that. The backs are flared to keep them from rattling loose, and it says it takes quite a bit of effort because they are flared. Okay. Starting to booger that one up. Okay. Maybe I should have done it that way to start with. I'm sorry if you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm using the wrong tool the correct way for the wrong job. 2 wrongs make a right. Okay, I'll let you guys chill for a minute because this is going to be a minute. Wonder if Honda considered even that they could make an intake manifold and use a single carb. These screws are junk. Well, I dropped that one. I can tell no real difference in which side should be which, how that slides in, except for this notch, the scratches from my pliers, and that back, you can see where the rail laid on it, maybe. I wonder if I should just start with the pliers. Maybe the key's a bigger screwdriver. This is a 3/4 carb bank. This is towards the middle, in between the two carbs. That is pretty stiff. I'm going to put this choke rail, I'll call it, in the number 3, right there. And see what happens next. Note to self, there's a spring there. And I think I can just take it out. Spring in between 3 and 4 on the front side. I really don't want to lose this. Or tear it to pieces. Come on, there you go. Okay, this little spring, it's just like that, right inside there. It's going in the number 4 bucket. Okay, this seems sort of important. My instructions say after I took the choke plates and slide out the rail, I should be able to pull it apart. But on the front side, there's this arm and a spring and a nut and they are connected. They are not coming apart. They're rocking together. So it appears I need to take this off so they will slide apart. Can you see how that goes? Get you a good look. So I'm fixing to take it loose. I can count 1, 2, 3, 4 threads is how far it's tightened. Okay, this is an 8mm. The number 4 carb goes on top. Number 4 carb bracket goes on top of this spring, on top of the number 3 bracket. Very little tightness. How does that not come apart? Need a little tap. Okay, there's a slot there. And that is a righty-loosey. That's important. This is threaded. And you spin righty-loosey to get this arm off. Oh, my screwdriver's too big. There it went. Alright. Now, okay, it will come apart now. This went through the back side of the number 3. Washer on bottom. There's a spring right there that I just knocked off. Now, let's see if these come apart. That was almost bad. And now I have a mystery washer. Hopefully I got that on video. This is going to go there, like so. I'm going to put the spring on. And please remember when you put this together that I'm not sure where that washer went. I'm pretty certain it's somewhere in here. And I'm going to put this into the number 3 bucket. Okay, they're successfully apart. Accelerator rail, fuel rail, I might have gotten away without tearing these down, but sure as you don't, you're in deep okie doke. And then this goes right there. So I'm going to make a separate bucket for the 3/4 accelerator pump tube, acceleration tube. I'm not sure exactly what the right word is, but XL tube, fuel tube, rubber tube, and then I'll see what else to do. Right, there we go. I'm going over to the wall with it. 3 and 4 separated. This common shared screw is in number 3. I'm going to set these aside in front of their respective bins over here, and we're going to try and split 1 and 2 now. This one's a little tougher because I have to hold against this spring. Okay, these aren't breaking loose too bad. I know it seems crude I'm using pliers like this, but they were wanting to strip out so easy. Okay, let's pause, take a breath, look at where we're at. Okay. And I dropped that one too. At least I see it. Okay, it appears I have the same issue, but carburetor 1, the lever goes on top of carburetor 2's bracket. Okay, if I look at this one, there's a washer on each side of this bracket going into carb number 2. So that gives me a pretty good idea on what the other one will need to look like when it goes back together. don't have enough fingers for all this. Okay. Came apart. I can catch everything. Put my nut back on. If I can not cross thread it. Okay. So this was attached to number 2 right here last. It's going in that box. Number 2. Number 1. Okay. I want to pause a second. Take a deep breath. These are facing backwards. That's the orientation. Okay, see how all that came together? Just like that. Accelerator tube, the T. Assume that's the fuel inlet, and then the rubber joint. Acceleration tube is going in number 1. The T is going in number 1. The rubber, number 1. Our carbs are separated. My rail can come out. See how this spring is sitting? Is on this choke plate. There we go. It goes like that. That's going to go in number 2. Now I have all 4 carburetors separated. I don't know what this rubber piece is. It's kind of stuck there. See it? Hangs out right there. I'm not going to force it out. I'm going to let it hang out in carburetor 2. You know what, folks? It's getting late. I might just call this one a wrap for now. I have my carbs separated. I've been labeling parts and bins as I go, and I've been making a video of it, so maybe it'll help me remember. I don't know what else I can do to not mess this up. And just a little heads up, I've made it through 6 of 40 pages. I'm not very good at math, but that's not very far. That's not a very big percentage, but I would rather not be in a hurry, take it slow, and try to minimize my chances for mistakes. I had a guy comment back at me, aim small, miss small. That's what we're doing here. Catch you later. Hey there, greasy people. It's the next day. Wardrobe changed. Nobody came and finished these carbs for me. So, only one thing to do, and that's do her. Alright, here's where we got to something that the paper manual kind of got out of order, or maybe I did. These are the carb sync screws. The next step it tells me is to remove those. I removed them from the 3-4 connection and the 1-2 connection. So they're already gone. So that means my next step is to finish breaking down carburetor number 1. I'm going to set the other carburetors off to the side, and then we can go from there. This follows, I'm sorry. This new manual is telling me that 1, 3, and 4 are basically the same deal over again. And then number 2 is a little different, so we're going to do that last. Let's let's take off and do it. Ignore what I just said. I've already done some of the things that I didn't get out of order. I did what the one book told me, and now the other book, I got steps. So, I already have the Carb 1 air cutoff out. I've previously done that. Bottom end. Okay, I got the bowl off. And it is stored. I don't know if you can see this or not. Probably not. But inside this hole appears to be a slotted screw. I don't know if I should leave it alone or not, because I didn't. Okay, it's pretty snug. I'm going to leave it alone. On the 1980 model, this slow speed jet is pressed in. I'm not unpressing it out. I will clean it and hope for the best. Okay, after much going back and forth, I think Carb 1 is as far down as I need to take it. I can see through the holes I need to. This throttle adjusting screw, I'm a little afraid to take it out. I don't know. It doesn't say anywhere in my literature about taking it out. Let's just note the orientation. There's this little divot, not divot, opposite of a divot, raised portion. I'm going to unthread it and see what happens. There's one turn, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I pulled that out very gingerly. Spring fell out. Alright, you saw where that come from. It looked like it was pretty well ran in, flush right there. I'm sure that passage could use cleaning. I did it. And I'm going to put it in there. This is pretty well done. I don't see anything else to take loose except maybe that one down in there, but I can see through it. I'm not going to mess with it. On to Carb to number 2. My literature kind of jumps around. Carb 2, special parts to remove. Okay, this is Carb number 2's air cutoff. There's a spring in here. So be careful. That broke loose. That broke loose. I'm going to use this lever that connects over here to hold this down while I take the screws out, then I'll rotate it. One. 2. Rotate. Remember me telling you about that spring? My finger slipped. Okay. 2. Grab a pick. Rotate that again. Okay, with a little effort that came out. Rubber seems alright. Okay. Now it looks like I'm ready for throttle cable mount, held in place by a 4mm Phillips screw, high idle knob washer and spring, and the choke idler arm spring and washers. Be gentle with this spring, it's delicate. Replace all these parts in the tray. Okay, see how that works? Okay, I'm going to use I do see a spring behind there. I better get my thumb on it. Okay, get a good look at this before it comes loose. Came out. Okay, this spring was hooked over this nub. This spring over that little nub. This assembly slid out. I believe that lock washer came from there. This assembly looks like it has a little C-clip or something behind there. Okay, that is on. Alright, gonna take a pause. Alright, I finished a side quest. It says the next step is to take this knob off. I don't know that I need to. I'm thinking about going away from the chem dip and going to the pine saw method. I'm not sure I even need to take that out. Okay, that's a cotter key. This arm is held on by a cotter key that I can't get to. Maybe that's why I gotta take this off. Count my threads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I got 13 threads showing through this idle screw. I think that's as far as I need to go to get this cleaned. I'm not sure I needed to take this bracket off. I was following instructions. But looking at what I'm looking at, I don't see any reason to take this off, just to get the carb cleaned out and to replace what I need to in here. So, very carefully, going to put all of this carburetor number 2's box and move on to number 3. Very gently. There's the cover. There's the spring. There's the diaphragm. It's a little stiffer than the other ones were. This shouldn't need to come out. I still wonder about these. I'm going to leave it alone for now. I got to figure out what that one's called. Now to number 4. I've got it broken down. One more air cut off. Good thing I came in here. Look at that. That's torn. I think that's as deep as I need to go. After review of my manual, this is the pilot screw. It does say to remove it. I probably should have done that when I removed the jets and things, but I missed a step, so that's that. I'm going to put this in the corresponding bins. It appears I already took it out of carburetor 1, so it's in the bottom. Alright. So, this is Carb 2. I think I can just spin this with my finger. Half, 1, half, 2, a half, 3, and a half. I did that backwards. 4, and a half, 5, a half, 6, half, 7. It came out. I should have went all the way in and counted my turns backing out. I messed that up. So, this is in the bin with the rest of number 2. Try to do this right on number 3. I'm going to count my turns till it seats. If it matters on these, I'm not sure. Half, 1, half, 2, half, 3, half, so just over 3.5 to seat. Now I can back it out. It's in carburetor number 3. Number 4. Three and 4 look exactly the same. Half, 1, half, 2, half, 3, seated. So, just over 3 turns out. And like I said, I'm not sure if it matters. This is the first time I've done this. That's what we got. I just had a spring fall out, and I recovered it. There's a spring in these pilot jets. Pilot screw. Pilot screw. Okay, I want to put 4 back where it belongs. Oh crap. There's a little washer too. This might be disastrous. Okay. See if this one had a washer. Doesn't appear to have had one. Or it is stuck. Looks like there's one in there. See if I can dislodge it with a 2 also has a spring. That worked. Look at that little bitty guy. There it went. This guy just fell out of carburetor number 2. Looks like it's set there. Or maybe on top of it. Maybe down in that cavity. Remember that. Alright guys, if you watched this far, thanks for watching. The carburetors are broke down about as far as, honestly, probably farther than I am capable of. But we'll figure that out. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I tried to do it as best as I could by the manual and by the other manual I got off the internet. Hopefully in the next week or so I'll get some parts coming my way. In the meantime, I'm going to clean all this up. Hopefully I've made good enough notes that I can put this back together. We'll just say I'm up against it. I'm in pretty deep water here, but you don't learn unless you do, so it's what it is. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Do me a favor, if you saw I did something wrong, let me know. Leave me a comment, give me a like. These long videos are a lot of work, but they're here to help me, and hopefully they help somebody else. So keep wrenching.